All right, mateys, hey, what would Sunday brunch be without some bagels and spreads, a little bit of wine, or Bloody Marys? Now, we're going to make 3 different spreads or smears. Now, what's the difference? Well, a spread is to open up. The smear is the act of spreading. So that's what we're making today. Well, all of these were made from a basic recipe of 3 items. You know, and 3 is important. Just think about it. Neptune carries a trident. There's a hat trick in soccer and hockey. The 3 horsemen of the apocalypse. Well, sometimes there's 4. The Triple Crown. The 3 amigos. Well, here we're going to have 3 ingredients to make most of these bagel spreads. Let's go through all the ingredients and the tools, and I'll show you how we make each one of these luscious spreads. So now our trio for all of our bagel spreads and smears is going to be 1 pound of cream cheese, a cup of sour cream, and a 1/4 cup of butter. Then we blend all that together, and from that everything else is created. Now for our Tuscan dried tomato and artichoke, of course that's just it. Now I dehydrated these tomatoes, or you could use sun-dried. A little bit of black olive, and of course artichoke hearts. Our Brie and sun-dried tomatoes, or dried tomatoes, is just that. We're going to use about 1/4 of this Brie. The dried tomatoes, half a glass of white wine, and as a alternate, what you could do is add a little bit of horseradish. Now you could add horseradish to just about all of these. And now for our salmon spread, now I'm using some salmon that we had left over for dinner. You could use lox or smoked salmon, whatever you'd like. A little bit of tomato, lemon juice, capers, and red onion. And our tools are very simple. A can opener, our cutting board and knife, a juicer, a spatula. I'm going to use this easy slicer for our onion, a mixing bowl, and a food processor. Well, of course, the first thing we're going to want to do is put our 3 amigos here together. Our sour cream, our butter, and our cream cheese. Now what I like about this food processor is I don't need to run extension cords or cords all over the place. It's just a manual. Works very well. All right, a few pumps on that. Oh yeah, everything is blended together nicely. So we're going to put that into our mixing bowl here just to kind of hold everything, and then I'm going to divide this in thirds, and that's what we're going to use for our spreads for today. Now this trio left us with a 1/2 cup of mix of our base so that we can go ahead and make our 3 individual spreads. Let's do our Brie and dried tomato first. All right, so now on our Brie, we'll take our food processor. We'll add 1/3 of our base mix to that. See, that's nice about this spatula here is it's also a scooper. All right, that looks good. Now our Brie, we're going to take, we said 1/4 of that. Set this aside. We're going to add our dried tomatoes. Now on the Brie, we want to cut this thin layer of white off. Be careful with that. We don't want to get, just, if you leave a little bit on like this, that's not going to hurt anything. And then we're going to cut that into a few little pieces, make it easier to process. Our white wine. Yes, I did save some for the chef. Get our cap back on. That should be good enough. Lock that handle in. Oh yeah, this looks very, very nice. Now we have our first spread ready. Now I'm going to clean this up. We'll come back and let's make the salmon next. All right, now for our salmon. Of course, we need our salmon. Only 1/4 of a lemon, depending on the size. This should be plenty of juice. There we go, that's good. Okay, our capers. And I should have drained these first. Now about a tablespoon of capers. And a little bit of red onion. And we're going to slice that very, very thin. We just need a couple slices, well, maybe one more. There, that looks good. Put that together. And then, of course, our base. The tomato, I'm not going to put the tomato in this because the tomato will get too watery. That, we're just going to slice. We'll make some nice thin slices of tomato to lay on top of our spread, just like this. That's all we need, just a few slices like that. Get our food processor going again. Now we don't want to chop this up too fine. Well, maybe a little more than that. Get our spread down in there, okay. Oh, that looks good, just like that. All right, now we'll put that in our bowl. And then finally, our Tuscan artichoke heart, dried tomato, and black olive mix. We'll start with our base. A few of our tomatoes. Now the artichoke hearts, now let's do the olives first. We're going to cut them a little bit, make this a little easier to process. We're going to save a couple of olives for our garnish on the top. Cut our artichoke heart in quarters. Get our handy dandy little food processor going again. Oh, that looks good, just like that. Now we'll dish that one up. Well, today we made 3 real basic spreads. Of course, we have a salmon, a Tuscan tomato and artichoke, and a Brie dip.